The following video is brought to you by Ravasi.com, a wonderful source for articles on feminism, LGBTQ stuff, parenting stuff, and so many other great pieces. Please go check it out. This past week, I decided to take a little bit of a trip outside my comfort zone. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a city boy. Born and raised in Brooklyn, I lived in New York my entire life, and quite honestly, I'm not really the outdoorsy type. Why would I go out to nature? The trees don't have Wi-Fi, there's dirt everywhere, it's just not really my style. However, when someone important to me recently brought up the idea of going to a cabin up north with no Wi-Fi, no phone service, and honestly no one around, I only had two thoughts. One, this sounds terrible, and two, there's a chance I'm probably gonna get serial killed. But I was really in need of a weekend away and I really wanted to spend more time with this person, so I thought, why not? If I get murdered, at least it'll be an interesting story. We left from St. Paul and started the 5-hour drive toward Finland, Minnesota. If you've never heard of it, it's okay, I'm pretty sure no one has, because I think there was like 5 people in that town. On the drive up, I started to feel what I could only describe as a new kind of anxiety. I've never really been someone who's done well with the quiet. Growing up, my childhood home was a small apartment above a bar, and I remember very vividly falling asleep on weekend nights to the sound of live music pumping into the floorboards. The promise of silence is quite honestly a really intimidating one. We drove out to Duluth, Minnesota, making a quick stop so I could see Lake Superior for the first time. Lake Superior is the biggest lake in North America. And quite honestly, it's pretty fucking terrifying to look at. When you think of a lake, you think of a body of water you can fathom the edges of. You can imagine how large it is, but honestly, it just spread into the horizon. There was something about the calm of the water that made me nervous at first, but it also made me curious. I wanted to see more. Of course, we had to stop at a local hotspot for a round of beers and then right back onto the road. On our way up, we made quick stops at a lot of local parks and landmarks. When my friend found out I'd never seen a waterfall before, they decided I need to see several. I'd never been one for hiking or nature. I'm still healing from my surgeries. Physically strenuous activity is a lot for me. I found myself sweating and breathing heavy as I hiked these trails, but as soon as I got to the top, I was so glad that I did. With every tree we passed, with every waterfall we saw, the nature stopped being such a terrifying thing. It started to be something that calmed me and relaxed me. It started to feel like a reward. It became something I wanted to seek out. And I think this says a lot about how we deal with anxiety when it comes to the concept of something versus the reality of it. I was never scared of nature. I was never afraid of the outside. I was afraid of the mystery. I come from a place of clearly defined lines, of streets and avenues where everything is clear cut and makes sense and is very simple and approachable. But here, out in nature, out in the world, there are twists and turns. The footing is uneven. You never know what the next step is going to be. And it's a terrifying concept, but it was so worth it. Eventually, after a few stops, we made our way up to the cabin. There was no phone service. There was no one around. There was just quiet. We had a couple drinks, made dinner, and we called it a night. Early the next morning, we got up and decided to drive around a bit more and check out a few landmarks. We drove around a bit more, and eventually, after a long and difficult climb, we got to the Devil's Kettle. The Devil's Kettle is part of a bigger waterfall in Judge C.R. Magny State Park. You can see where the water goes in, but no one quite knows where the water goes to. And that in and of itself is part of what intimidated me so much about this trip. In a foreign place, everything is a mystery. You never know what you're going to find next or what's going to happen to you. After spending a long time in nature, it stopped being intimidating. It started being calm. The quiet wasn't something I feared anymore. It was something I started to cherish. As I looked out at all the water in Lake Superior, at the horizon it touched and all the different directions it stretched to, I thought back to the Devil's Kettle and how sometimes the most beautiful aspects of life are the things we can't explain, and how sometimes there's more value in just jumping in the darkness and embracing the mystery than there is in knowing what's coming next. Now, well guys, I hope you liked my little adventure. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely terrifying. Obviously, I didn't get murdered, so that's good. But if you want, go check out Ravasi.com for a bunch of great articles, including stuff that I write. Check out my Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, all at Matt Joseph Diaz. You can find the links down there. And if you like the work I do here, please check out mattjosephdiaz.com/donate. That's all for now, guys. I'll see you soon.